Welcome to EFE Daily. Today on the show, we've got the latest on Nintendo in the rundown.
Plus, if we got a gift for you, a behind-the-scenes look at the new Jason Bateman thriller.
And then we get a new look at the adorable indie game Unravel. Also coming up, we catch up with a few comedians in cars getting coffee. Ben and Jose level up with Trials Fusion, Awesome Max, and much more today on EFE Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Marissa Roberto, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Hold on to those green shells and grab an extra mushroom, because it's time for the rundown. Nintendo's Miiverse is getting better. A big update for the online social hub has arrived, giving it a redesigned look and loads of new features that Nintendo hopes will make it easier to talk about the games you love. Communities for each game have been cleaned up, so posts will be categorized based on where you are in the game and what content from other players you want to see. New features include the screenshot album, making it easier for you to save and show off your best gaming screenshots, and the play journal, where you can record and keep track of your gaming experiences. The new Michael Bay movie has plenty of explosions, but probably no robots or aliens. Take a look at 13 Hours, a film that chronicles a 2002 attack on the American embassy in Benghazi, Libya. It looks pretty intense, and given that it's a true story, it's a much more serious subject matter than anything Bay has attempted in the past. Let's hope he handles it with more delicacy than his last non-Transformers movie, Pain and Gain. 13 Hours will bring the Bayham to theaters in January 2016.
None of you have to go.
That's it for the rundown. Now look who it is to join me. It is the one and only Scott C. Jones. What is this today that you're doing?
Well, we're going to be talking about a Michael Bay movie, so I thought I would be doing my Michael Bay poses, everybody. In case, Michael Bay, you want to put me in your next film, I'm available. What do you got for me?
What you do in every Michael Bay movie audition. We're talking about 13 Hours.
I don't know, Michael Bay plus reality is a strange mix, and I think mixing it with the tragic events from Libya in 2012 is a little bit dangerous.
I'm not a fan of what Michael Bay has done, especially recently, but if he's trying to take on something serious, maybe he's trying to gauge maybe an older audience, because I feel like the movies that he's made so far have been for teenage boys.
You know, the other thing that comes to mind when I see this trailer is Pain and Gain, which I went to and had very high hopes for. Also, it was a little comedic, but also a little cartoonish.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of Michael Bay's movies have that little element of cartoonishness in them, and I just don't know how that's going to play out here. I'm curious, though.
He can't use that here. How is he supposed to? If he does, I'll be very upset.
You're cartoonish. Let's move on.
Okay, moving right along, let's go to the Miiverse Now update. Jones, I know you spend so much of your time in the Miiverse.
You know, I've really fallen in love in a big way with my Wii U, and you know, every time I turn it on, there's all of these people. I just see hundreds and hundreds of these people milling around. That's the Miiverse, apparently. And, you know, people can exchange information. They can tell other people what games they're playing. Sure. I think it's a little bit of a strange move that Nintendo is making this kind of development so late in the Wii U's life cycle.
Sure, well, I think they're surprised by the love that it gets, because a lot of people out there that love to draw things and send them to friends, and I just...
Aren't we friends in the Miiverse?
No, we're not friends at all.
And we never will be.
And we never will be. Maybe now I'll jump into it a little bit more. I'm not very good at drawing. I don't think I'm clever with my little notes to send to friends.
You have other talents, but we're not going to go into them now.
Oh, thank you so much, Jones.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's table this subject for a big spacement, perhaps. We've got to go now to the gift behind the scenes.
Is your name Simon? Simon Cowell?
Yeah, Simon. Hi.
Oh, it's you. Oh, I thought we went to school together.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh? Which one? Fairmont
Park?
Well, my character Simon is a guy that knows Gordo from high school, and we've got a little bit of a history together. He is a guy that I kind of knew a little bit in school, and as the movie progresses, we figure out that the history is a little bit deeper with this guy than Simon initially discloses to his wife, Robin.
That guy's odd.
I think he wants to hurt us. I'm playing a woman who has no idea who she is, and because she's put into threatening extreme circumstances, actually grows up and realizes that her marriage is not what she thinks it is. The things that she wants in her life are not the things that she thinks she is, and actually gets strength from a horrible thing, which is a kind of really interesting thing to play, and complicated because it's working on many, many levels. And at the same time, she is very much the straight man and the audience, and she has to experience things as they happen. So there's a certain amount of understanding that I've got to tread a sort of settled path.
Why was Simon running a background check without telling me?
Robin, why don't you just ask him?
You know, on one hand, I've always been interested in the idea of bullying and those kind of roles we played at school. I can remember, you know, incidents of being on both sides of those things and learning at quite a young age that I should never be cruel to anybody else because of how it makes you feel when it happens to you. But so interested in that general subject matter, but I got excited about making a movie or writing a script about it when I thought, how do those roles affect people through the rest of their life? And rather than tell a story that was set in a high school or to write a story that was set with people my age and using that concept of what would it be like to run into the person that you treated very badly when you're at school, or on the flip side of that, what would it be like to run into the person who bullied you?
Gordon Mosley.
Hi, Gordon. Robin.
Gordo?
Hey.
Wow, buddy, I did not recognize you. Gordon Mosley.
I think everybody's interested in watching a flawed character because none of us are perfect, and so it's relatable, and also it just becomes interesting to observe the cracks in someone's veneer. It's an interesting thing to act, and it's also an interesting thing to watch as an audience member.
The Gift comes out tomorrow, and guess what? We've got a review for you on tomorrow's show.
And we've got to take a quick break right now, but when we come back, Marissa interviews the guy behind Unravel, and we all love Marissa's interviews.
I know, can't wait.
We'll see it after this.
Welcome back to the Electric Playground. Unravel, which is coming up from EA, was definitely one of the coolest things I saw at E3 this year.
Vic, refreshing your memory a little bit as we age, you already did a story on Unravel. We're not going to show that again, are we?
I know, and that's why we've got Marissa to take a second look right now.
There was an adorable game being shown off at the EA press conference here at E3, and of course, I had to pull the creator aside. Tell me all about Unravel. This is your baby, so share it with the world.
Yeah, it's so good to finally get to show it off. It's like you carried this little secret around for 2 years, and you know it's something that it's pretty special. I mean, it feels so good to finally unveil the secret.
Tell me how the story came about, because this is something that's very personal for you.
We're all created on this camping trip in the woods. I guess it's kind of like when you're in an inspiring environment like that, sometimes things just come to you. So I was out there in the woods with my family and camping and just so full of ideas, but didn't really know how to express them because I didn't really bring anything to work with. So I was scavenging for stuff, and I created this doll out of materials that I could find, like old metal wire and yarn that I borrowed and things like that. So and just like ran around in the woods playing with it. It was interesting because it felt like I was finding pieces of it. It wasn't really me coming up with them. It was more like the following a path that was already there. It was very, very surreal. One of those truly inspired moments, I guess. Everything from like art direction to game design just kind of happens very organically as you're just playing with it.
And you created a story for your friend as well. Is it the same story that you took with him in the forest?
It's very symbolic, the whole game, I suppose. How the yarn is like a symbol for love and the bonds between people. And basically the whole goal of the game is to try to make that yarn reach all the way from the start of the game into the finish. It's basically representative of a person reaching out to someone. You're the embodiment of someone's longing for their lost loved ones, so to speak. It's a bit symbolic, I guess.
What are the game mechanics here?
It's all physics-based. It's like at the heart of it, it's what you would expect from a platformer. You're like running and you're jumping and you're moving stuff around, but then you also have the layer that you are actually made of yarn. So you constantly have a trail of yarn behind you, and you can actually unravel completely. If you as you move, you start to unravel, and if you move too far, you will unravel, so you get so weak that you can't really go on. But then you can also use the yarn to create stuff, like you can attach it to things, you can build bridges with it, or you could swing on it, or just create counterweights of pulleys and things like that. It's cool what you can do with physics. It's basically like a sandbox where you can just get quite creative with your solutions to things.
You have a lot of your own memories in this game as well, because this game is quite personal for you. So Yarny does collect things in the game, right? Are they these memories, something that he can use later?
I wanted to make something that meant something to me, but I didn't want my meaning to be like the universal meaning. I want people to put their own meaning to stuff. So basically, I believe in being quite subtle with storytelling like that. We provide the details and the clues, and we leave it up to the people to go looking for them, because you don't want to push story on people. You can't tell someone to feel things. It's more like we try to make the environment tell the story. We try to make the experience tell the story, and basically leave it up to the players, because everyone is different and everyone wants a different experience, and they tackle it from a different angle. So I think that's the only way you can really get away with it without it just becoming sentimental or weird. Leave it up to the players to make it what they want.
No release date on Unravel, but I'll be the first in line. And now for something completely different.
Yes, Marissa and I are fans of the Seinfeld TV show. Jerry Seinfeld has his own show. It's called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. We're reviewing it.
Is that a Ferrari?
Yeah.
No way, really?
You got horsepower, honey.
Imagine a TV show where Jerry Seinfeld is the host. He drives around in a fancy, old-timey, expensive car, and he picks up somebody else who's famous or marginally famous, and they go somewhere and have coffee together. There is a show like that. It's called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. We're on season 6 now at this point.
Listen, I love coffee. I love coffee. I love the idea of this. I love the idea of going to different coffee shops with your friends and talking about life and having a camera there to capture it all. Now, Jerry Seinfeld has a lot of friends. He has a lot of comedian friends, which is why this show works. He also has a lot of cars. He's obsessed with cars. So the show is basically just him being very self-indulgent because he has all these friends to show off. He loves coffee, so he's going to drink coffee with his friends and he's going to show off all of his cars. But what I do love is that every car that he has, he tries to take it out and have it relate in some way to the person that he's picking up.
Okay. What do you think?
I think we're now entering the zone of the unflattering camera angle is what I think.
I don't understand these car people. I know some car people are out there watching this, but basically he does something that is completely designed. It's almost like a private show for him. What kind of show would I like to watch? Me driving an old-timey car, picking up a friend of mine, and then we go have coffee. How's that for a show? Talk about a show about nothing.
He's mastered the show about nothing, and so I feel like he does deserve a show like this. If you're not a Seinfeld fan, you're not going to like this at all because it's just Jerry being Jerry.
Guess what?
And a lot of people that he has on his show, on his coffee show, were on Seinfeld.
I can't imagine that there are too many non-Seinfeld fans watching the show.
Well,
because
if there are, then I don't want to be friends with you.
Yeah,
because
you're a Seinfeld fan, and I'm a Seinfeld fan. And you know, part of the pleasure here is kind of Jerry's tour back to his own history, because he does take Julia Louis-Dreyfus out for coffee, takes Michael Richards out. We saw him with Larry David. He took him out, and they have interesting conversations.
I haven't driven a stick in forever.
Really?
Not that you can tell.
Oh, no. Don't. Oops. Yeah, now you're going into first.
It's fun to see them sort of wax nostalgic about stuff that happened to them in their past and where they've gone, because a lot of time has elapsed now since the show went off the air. It's been 15 years now, and time is moving on, and Jerry's made new friends. He's got, you know, somehow access to these other new fancy cars, and he celebrates all these things. Some of these things are home runs. I'm going to use a sports metaphor. And some of them are kind of foul balls.
Yeah, some of them fall flat, but the reason why they fall flat, I find, are because the comedian that they have on, you think is going to be very, very funny, but they're actually completely different, because he does try to touch on, you know, personal things. He does try to get a little more personal with the person that he's sitting down with, because that's what you do with a friend when you're having coffee. So I like the idea of it, absolutely. Does it fall flat a lot of the time? Yes, for sure.
When she got back 3 weeks later, the monkeys were out of the cage and there was no getting them back in.
My eyes are bleeding. I think you know where this is going.
This whole thing feels like a real treat, even though there are some misses in there.
It is true. It's like just having that cup of coffee, that second cup of coffee, or that third cup. Maybe you shouldn't have it, but it's still great, and it gives you a little jolt, especially if the guest is a good one. I'm going to keep watching, of course, because I love this stuff.
Yeah, I love this stuff, too. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
All right, that's a fair score. It gets an 8 from me as well.
Can I buy you a cup of coffee?
Yes, you can.
A little side note, Jerry Seinfeld is coming to our part of the country later in the year, and of course I will be outside his hotel lobbying for Victor Lucas to be on the show. Have him on, Jerry.
I'm not a comedian.
Victor Lucas, you're very funny, though.
All right, that would be great. Stick around. When we come back, we've got Trials, Fusion, Awesome, Max, and the only two people that can review that, Ben and Jose. Welcome back to the Electric Playground. It is time for the San Francisco treat to step right up. They've got a review of Trials Fusion Awesome Max. I don't name these things.
We're talking about Trials Fusion again today, people, but we're talking
about the theme song.
No, we're not. We're talking about the Awesome Level Max DLC. Did I get it right? Awesome Level Max?
Yeah, it's Awesome Level Max.
Awesome Level to the max. You've probably seen or heard a little bit about this if you were paying attention to E3 at all, because there was a very brief trailer that Ubisoft showed of a cat with a handgun riding a unicorn. And that's, in fact, exactly what you play in the Awesome Level Max. Jose, is it any fun?
Cat with a handgun, riding a unicorn that breathes fire is one of the coolest things ever in the history of video games.
But is it really? The first level with the unicorn is one of the craziest Trials levels you'll ever play. It's insane.
I thought I was stroking out.
Me too.
I was just like, whoa. I see a jump, I hit a jump, I'm planning to land, you just morph into something else. What the hell just happened? All right, and then that's pretty much how it is for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You're just flipping out and the world keeps changing and you keep coming across the same jumps that you hit. You think you're gonna land it again, but actually no, you just warp somewhere else, and then you end up landing the actual jump that you hit the first time, but that's the third time you hit the jump. It's all kinds of awesome level map.
It was insane. It's like you're going through these portals, but you're not seeing the portal. It's the levels changing over and over again. I thought that was brilliant. I really liked that. I wish, though, you could shoot the gun with the cat.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you've got all these
riders.
buttons.
I see your name every time I'm racing. I'm like, there's Magic Pants.
Missed opportunity. You're a cat with a gun riding a unicorn, and you don't really do anything special with them. You just still, ride as if the unicorn is
It's an aesthetic thing.
It's totally an aesthetic thing. Now, it's also really crazy. But as crazy as everything looks, the gameplay is still very much the same Trials, which is, can you make it up this one little jump? Can you make it up the ramp? Can you get over the gap? And even though it's a unicorn, and even though he shoots fire randomly out of his mouth, and even though you're a cat with a gun, you don't really do anything interesting with these characters. You just drive them like bikes.
Yeah, which, I mean, again, missed opportunity. They could have did things way cooler with the fact that I am a cat riding a unicorn, and I have a handgun in my hand, and this thing breathes fire.
Really, ultimately, this is just a $10 DLC pack that's gussied up to look super special and super awesome, but ultimately, I think it's pretty standard stuff. I mean, you've got the fun-looking unicorn, you've got the cat with a gun. Again, they don't do anything exciting. Those levels are very cool. The new levels you can download, very cool. $10 to me at this point in Trials Fusion's lifespan feels a little expensive, but I think if you're the kind of gamer who's been playing this series and you've bought a bunch of DLC, I mean, why not? And they also sell this as a bundle if you want to buy everything.
Awesome Level Max bundle?
Yep, that's a very quick way of saying it. That's all the Trials Fusion stuff, the original game, all the DLC, including this. And I think that might actually be the way to go if you're starting from scratch, because this is still a really fun, awesome, difficult game.
And there's something about, seeing that person's name and just keep going after them, like, oh, they only restarted twice, I restarted 4 times.
Yeah, this might be the best Ghost situation in a video game. I mean, everyone plays this game to stare at that name and just try to beat it. I think it's time for us to score up the Awesome Level Max and hop on our unicorns and get out of here. Jose, what are you giving it?
I'm giving this game a 7 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 as well. Awesome unicorn, but not enough to do with it.
Start your engines. Trials Fusion Awesome Max is available right now. And stick around when we come back. It's the Twitter question of the day.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It is now time for the Twitter question of the day. This one comes from our friend, Stephen Nikolic. Hey there, Stephen.
Hey, Stephen Nikolic.
He asked, do you think Nintendo has to produce titles with a more mature sensibility to survive going forward? Excellent question.
I am going to stroke my invisible chin beard here because that's a very erudite, very informed question. I think that's a playful question, but I also think there's a serious side too. Nintendo has never really delved too much into the more serious side of gaming, never too much into the more tragic side of gaming, yet somehow all of their games, even when they're super cartoonish, like Wind Waker, there's still an element of adult emotion underneath, and I think that's always been what they've done best, and I think they're going to continue to do what they've done best going forward.
Okay, so we'll see more mature titles then.
we're just going to see more of the same kinds of titles we've been seeing for years. That's my answer. Apologies if I wasn't terribly clear, Stephen. Love you.
All right, you can find out more from Scott C. Jones's brain at epn.tv.
And that's it for today's show, but we're working on some really cool stuff for tomorrow's episode, including a bloody look at Blood Bowl 2. See you then.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
The Reichland Reavers versus the Gouged Eye. Classic matchup.
The Reavers are a long way from their glory days.
A long way? I've seen shorter trips to the realm of chaos.
And here we go. Any chance the Reavers will win this match?
Doubtful, Jim. There's more chance of you having a heartbeat. Pass to a Black Orc? Black Orc shouldn't care about the ball.
Touchdown!
So there are obviously characters in here as well that add to the strategy. So who are we meeting on the field? Who is in our team?
He's coming out with 8 different races. When you first start, you create your own team and you choose which races you want to play. For example, you have Skaven. They run very fast, but they are totally squishy. So at the end of the match, you will have scored a lot of touchdowns, but you will also finish with only 2 or 3 players available left. Each race also have a different kind of players. You have the big ones, the small ones, the quarterback, you know. And match after match, this player will gain experience points, and you will be able to level them up the way you want as a coach.
What do you love about Blood Bowl?
You're always surprised by the game, that's what I love about it.
I just love the fantasy setting on a football field. That's the main seller for me.